This video is brought to you by Sailrite. Visit Sailrite.com for all your project supplies, tools, and instructions. In this video, we'll show you how to make your own travel bag using high-quality fabrics from Sailrite. This bag features a decorative fabric on the bottom and a canvas on top. It also features a liner on the inside. Sailrite has thousands of fabrics to choose from, allowing you to stylize and design your bag to fit your preferences. We'll get started and show you how to make your very own travel bag. We'll cut our canvas fabric for the top of the bag. These pieces will be 12 by 5 inches, and we will need 2 of these. The finished size of our bag will be 10.5 inches by 7.5 inches, but feel free to modify these measurements for a larger or smaller travel bag. Don't use a hot knife to cut cotton duck, because it will burn rather than melt. Use that piece you just cut out to trace and cut out your second panel. It's important that you mark the underside or backside of the fabric. Use one of the cotton duck panels to trace and cut out a decorative fabric panel that's the same size. Using the Sailrite Edge hot knife and tempered cutting glass, we'll cut out the decorative fabric, which will help seal the edges and keep the fabric from unraveling. You could also cut it out with scissors or a rotary cutter. Trace around this first panel to create a second panel, then cut it out. Next, we'll cut out a small strip of fabric to serve as a zipper tab. This tab needs to be 1/4 inch larger than the width of the zipper, so our tab will measure 4 inches by 1.5 inches. Then we'll cut it out using the Sailrite Edge hot knife. Here's a look at all of our panels and their sizes after they're cut out. Next up, sewing the accent fabric to the canvas. Apply basting tape along the top edge on the outside of your decorative panels. Peel off the transfer paper and baste the canvas down, making sure the top edge is even with the edge of the decorative fabric. Place the Deluxe Magnetic Sewing Guide down at the 1/2 inch mark on the sewing machine plate. Then sew a straight stitch down the length of the fabric, being sure to reverse at the beginning and the end. We're using the Sailrite LS1 sewing machine in the industrial tabletop with the workhorse servo motor. We're going to top stitch this panel, so we'll apply basting tape down the edge of the decorative fabric we just sewn. Remove the transfer paper and fold the fabric over so that the fold is lying on top of the decorative fabric. Do some reversing at the beginning, then sew down the length of the fabric about 1/8 inch from the edge of the decorative fabric. When you reach the end of the panel, do some reversing here as well. Sew the other canvas and decorative fabric panels together using the exact same procedures. We won't show that. Use one of the finished panels as a pattern to cut out the liner fabric. Trace around this panel, then cut it out with a pair of scissors. You'll need to cut out 2 of these panels for your bag. Installing the zippered top is next. Cut the zipper to size using a sharp pair of scissors. We want our zipper to be about 1 inch larger than our panel on each side. Place basting tape across the width of the zipper 2 inches from the end of the zipper on both sides. At this location, we will sew on a tab that will serve as a zipper stop on our bag. After peeling off the basting tape, fold the 1 by 4 inch piece of decorative fabric in half with the right side facing out and baste it down right on top of that basting tape. Take the zipper over to the sewing machine and sew across the decorative fabric, doing some reversing at the beginning and the end. When we reach the other end, we'll sew back across the tab one more time to give it some added strength. Before sewing the tab on the opposite end, we'll need to add our zipper slider. To do this, pull about 1 inch of the zipper apart and put the slider on one end at a time, making sure it is even, then sliding it to the middle of the zipper. Place the zipper back down with the tab 1 inch from the end of the fabric. On the opposite end, place basting tape 1 inch from that outside edge of the decorative panel. Peel up the transfer paper and fold that second tab in half and place it on the basting tape. Take the zipper over to the sewing machine and sew across this tab using the exact same procedures you did with the other one. After the tabs are sewn in place, cut off the excess zipper on both ends. With the slider face up, line the edge of the zipper up with the edge of the liner fabric. Then take the decorative fabric with the wrong side face up and line the top of the canvas edge up with the edge of the zipper and lining fabric. Once the top edges of the fabric are all lined up, use clips or pins to hold the fabric in place. This will create a sort of sandwich with the canvas on top, the zipper in the middle, and the liner fabric on the bottom. Take it over to the sewing machine and sew down that edge you just clipped together, being sure to reverse at the beginning and the end. Sew this stitch about 1/4 inch from the edge of the fabric and remove the clips as you go. Be sure to do some reversing when you reach the end of the panels. Pull both the lining and the decorative fabric together to expose the unsewn flange of the zipper. With the lining fabric flat on the table, we'll once again line up the zipper flange with that top edge of the fabric. Then, we'll line up the top edge of the canvas with the edge of the zipper flange, making sure the right sides or outsides of our fabric are facing one another. Clip the edges together just like you did when sewing the other side of the bag. Sew down the edge of the fabric just like you did with the panels on the other side of the zipper, reversing at the beginning and the end, and removing the clips as you go. Sewing around the perimeter of the bag is next. Before we sew around the perimeter of our bag, we'll want to match up the edge of the decorative fabric on one side and the lining fabric on the other. We'll use some clips to hold this in place before we take it over to the sewing machine. It's very important to match up the decorative fabric at the seams. If we don't match up these edges and sew around the perimeter of our decorative fabrics, it'll be uneven when our bag is finished. Take it over to the sewing machine and sew around the canvas and decorative fabric first. With the zipper face down and the tail on top of the canvas, we'll start sewing just below the teeth on the zipper, and sew about 1/4 inch from the edge of the fabric all the way around the perimeter of our canvas and decorative fabric panel. Being sure to do some reversing at the beginning, and then slowly working our way around the panel, removing the clips as we go. When we reach the corner, we'll bury our needle, lift the foot, rotate the fabric, lower the foot, then continue sewing. When we reach the end, we'll sew up to the zipper teeth and do some reversing here. Just like the decorative fabric, line up the ends of the lining fabric and use the clips to clip them together. This will make it easier to sew around the perimeter. Start sewing at the bottom about 2 inches from the corner. When we reach the corner, we'll bury the needle, lift the foot, rotate the fabric, lower the foot, and continue to sew. We purposely left some of the bottom edge unsewn so we could turn our bag right side out later on. When we get closer to the end, we'll sew onto the zipper flange and do some reversing, but we want to be careful not to sew over the zipper teeth. Go back to the middle and start sewing about 2 inches from the opposite corner. This should leave us with enough space to pull the decorative fabric through when we're finished. Rolling up the decorative side of our bag will make it easier to fit all this bulk under the arm of our sewing machine. Sew around this side of the bag the exact same way you did on the other side. At the end, sew up onto the zipper flange, but don't sew over the teeth. Then do some reversing here. Now we'll turn our bag right side out. We'll stick our hand through that hole we left at the bottom of the lining fabric and unzip the zipper and pull that decorative fabric back through. We'll push the lining fabric back into the decorative fabric and straighten out all those corners. After straightening out all the corners, pull the lining fabric back through so you can finish that bottom edge. Fold both raw edges of the fabric and create hems, then use wonder clips to clip these together. Sew this bottom edge, removing the clips as you go, being sure to do some reversing at the beginning and the end. After we finish sewing this bottom edge of the bag, our bag will be complete. Push the lining fabric back into the bag and your bag is complete. Here is a closer look at our finished bag and a few other designs and sizes.
Don't go away. The materials list and the tools list is coming up next. It is only through your loyal support that these free videos are made available. Thanks for your loyal support. And be sure to subscribe to the Sailrite YouTube channel. Click the bell to be notified of new videos when they become available. Thanks.
You can find the Cotton Duck and thousands of beautiful decor and upholstery fabrics at Sailrite.com. These are some related videos that may be of interest to you. I'm Seth Grant, and from all of us here at Sailrite, thanks for watching.